The socialist policies in practice redistribute from the working class to the super wealthy in practice. And I can prove that.
Does anybody see what he did there? Hasan does this all the time as well. The millionaires and the 1% are not your enemies. It's the billionaires that are your enemies, because these guys have all been so successful in their grift and they've all made so much money that now they have to convince you that they live your lifestyle.
Virtually nothing different between any of you guys and someone like myself. I am closer to where you are than we are to a guy like Elon Musk or a billionaire or a multi-millionaire.
Jeez, Hasan just keeps on playing word games to try and relate to the common folk. Like he wasn't born with a golden spoon in his mouth. I mean, the fact is, this guy has never not known money. I mean, if that wasn't evident already by the fact that this guy's identity is literally designer clothing. His family has had money for several generations at least. The guy's biggest struggle was convincing his uncle Cenk Uygur, the owner of the Young Turks, to try and let him be a media personality on the network. I mean, that's after he hired him with no prior experience. As a family favor for Hasan's father, a previous board member of Sabanci Holding, a company with revenue in the tens of billions. Then you have Hasan's grandfather, who in public records show him leading a group of 30 investors to buy $70 million apartment buildings. I mean, did you think it was a coincidence that Hasan fell into a career where he makes potentially millions of dollars a year? Yeah. But I'm not the only one noticing how Hasan keeps on trying to use wordplay to try and put himself on the same level as the common folk. Looks like other people are starting to notice it as well.
Class to the very, very wealthy. A very small group of people actually get richer.
So the socialist policies that provide goods and services to Canadians, let's say, or denizens of other countries, by printing money, actually punish the poor brutally.
Oh, absolutely.
The socialist policies? What?
In consequence of the inflation that they generate.
Yes, I mean, all the socialist policies in practice redistribute from the working class to the super wealthy.
Also, I love this. I love that the left and the right, the socialists and the commies, and the I can't speak to Canadian. I don't know if this guy's an authoritarian like Trump is or whatever, right? But I love that all of them. Hold on. Has anybody seen this? Does anybody see what he just did there?
The socialist policies in practice redistribute from the working class to the super wealthy in practice. And I can prove that.
Does anybody see what he did there? Does anybody see what's going on here? Oh my God, it's so cute that they've done this. The messaging, because these guys have become so fucking wealthy, Hasan does this all the time as well. It's no longer transferring from the poor to the rich or from the poor to the wealthy. It's from the poor to the ultra rich or from the poor to the ultra wealthy. The millionaires and the 1% are not your enemies. It's the billionaires that are your enemies, because these guys have all been so successful in their grift and they've all made so much money that now they have to convince you that they live your lifestyle. They're basically, they're closer. A guy making, you know, a 7-figure income, his life is way closer to yours than it is to Jeff Bezos or anybody like that. Like, these are your people. They're working class just like you. What did I listen to this on stream or was this on my subreddit off stream? Where Hasan says something like, oh God, it was another income related comment. I don't remember this clip. It was like a minute long and Hasan said something. I was like, yeah, I think I kind of agree with that. And then there was like a 20 seconds and then he said something else like, oh my God, it's so fucking stupid. I don't remember what it was, but the left and the right have moved onto that messaging where they always specify. They're always talking about the ultra wealthy. It's always the ultra wealthy, not just wealthy, because these guys are both. Well, I can't speak to the other guy, but like Jordan Peterson, part of the Daily Wire, has made like probably millions of dollars on his like big right wing grift and everything. So now it has to be the ultra wealthy. It's not us. It's the people that are even richer than us. You know.
Yes, I mean,
Destiny is onto something here. I have noticed the shift in presentation as well. The Hasan that made $50K a year working at TYT sounds far different than the multi-millionaire we hear today, especially when addressing this sort of stuff. And honestly, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to deduce why that would be. It's all pretty obvious. Hasan loves to try and make people think that he is just like them. You guys are both fighting the good fight together. He keeps trying to make it seem like his life is a lot closer to a homeless person than Jeff Bezos. Like, brother, sure, it's easy to say that while you sleep in your multi-million-dollar property. Sure, you might not have a private jet yourself, but you aren't exactly struggling, my dude. Watch as he tries to make a group of convict firefighters that are probably making about $30 a day think that he is actually no different than them.
He was asking, like, why do we care? Like, how we got involved. I'm like, that's a long story, but
I try to explain to people all the time that are listening that they are closer to where you are, and I am closer to where you are than we are to a guy like Elon Musk or a billionaire or multi-millionaire, you know, owns multiple condos, properties. Like, obviously sometimes people don't have a good starting position in life, you know what I mean? And they get lost in the system. Like, no one is like truly evil. Virtually nothing's different between any of you guys and someone like myself, except for, like, I'm willing to bet that my beginning point is more affluent, more privileged. You know what I mean? That's it.
Definitely.
Like, I fucked up when I was a kid. I fucked up when I was a young adult. I mean, I got arrested. You know what I mean? Like, but the difference is, well, I mean, I was broke when I got arrested, so that's not the best example. But still, like,
imagine the absolute disrespect. Like, I don't know the circumstances that these guys went through to be in this situation, but one could imagine. All I do know is that saying this to your chat full of spoiled, ignorant rich kids trying to rebel against their parents is one thing. But saying this to a group of incarcerated firefighters just comes off as insanely disrespectful to me. Let's be real, Hasan, you probably got arrested for being drunk at a frat party that got busted or some shit. You are not the same. Stop trying to relate, bro. It's just offensive. Not to mention that literally nobody is buying it. I bet even your chat is rolling their eyes at you, dude. This guy literally has the same car as Bill Gates, and he sleeps in a multi-million-dollar property in West Hollywood. The guy signs contracts worth millions of dollars with one of the biggest corporations in the world, and he thinks he could relate to the normies of society. What a joke. And it's not like he just put his foot in his mouth once over this topic. This is a repeated thing. Hasan truly believes it, or at least wants you to believe that he believes it.
We're going to Skid Row because why you think? Because we want to help people. That's it. That's the reason. And we want to humanize homeless people, especially at a time when homelessness is surging and violent acts against homeless people are also surging. And a lot of that comes from dehumanization and people refusing to recognize that these are real people who are victims of the oppressive structures that we all exist under, and that many of you are closer to them. Many of you are closer to them than you are to the likes of Elon Musk, myself included. Other billionaires are closer to homelessness than they are closer to Elon Musk. So yeah, as the eminent house owner, socialism is when no house. So we're gonna go visit real socialists.
Hasan Piker is closer to homelessness than he is Elon Musk. Holy dude. I mean, maybe if you're trying to make like a 5th grade math problem out of the situation, but the reality is, dude, you're kind of an asshole for even suggesting this. You have never had to struggle for anything in your life, dude. When you really look at it, you could go anywhere you want and buy anything you want. And that is a whole lot closer to the richest man in the world than a man sleeping on the street with nothing. Dude, stop trying to draw the class division line right at your feet. It's super insulting to include yourself in that struggle. This is like a rich kid trying to act like he's from the ghetto and understands how the streets work or something. You're like Papa Doc or something, dude. Just an absolute fraud. Watch as he tries to rationalize to chat that the only reason his house is so expensive is because of its location. He seriously tries to act like it isn't just a really nice house.
It's funny because the only reason why my house is so expensive, especially considering the size of it, my house in most other housing markets would be half the price. It would be maximum, depending on what year you're purchasing the house, it would be like, it could go all the way down to like $200,000, right? My house right now in Texas, even in Austin, would be maximum $500,000 to $700,000, maybe $1 million. Which is not a cheap house by any means, but people make it seem as though it is considered. Like, the house that I currently live in is, I think, smaller than my grandparents' house in New Jersey. And when they bought it, when he bought it in like I think like the early 90s, their old house in New Jersey, when he bought it in the early 90s, it was nothing. It was like $150,000 or something, which is still a lot for back then, but it's just like a $3 million house in LA is like a $200K house in the Midwest. Yeah, people say like, oh, your grandparents are rich. I mean, I've talked about this before. They used to be. But once again, it's funny that you mentioning you have a house is enough flex on 90% of us here. It's so funny that this conversation all of a sudden, like people that are currently living in their parents' Connecticut mansion, okay, that is significantly nicer and more expensive than the house that I'm talking about in New Jersey, are in the chat typing, wow, rich grandparents. Like, it's so funny to say this because you have no understanding of what the house that I currently live in looks like and the house that you're currently typing that from. Like, you're not living people will be living in Ohio in like a compound, basically typing like, wow, rich socialism, but it's not on screen. So, you know.
Dude, are you seriously trying to act like nobody knows what your house looks like? One, you stream in it all day long and have in multiple locations. Two, pictures of it literally went viral when you bought it. We all know what it looks like, dude. There is no way of cutting this. It's a nice house. Not a basic house by any stretch of the imagination. Sure, its location definitely increased its value. But nobody forced you to buy a property in West Hollywood. You bought that because you wanted to socialize with rich people like yourself. Your car is literally worth as much as a house in some cases, dude. Stop trying to act like you understand poor people. Hasan is literally a Balenciaga trash bag dress. Just trying to act poor as some sort of weird aesthetic when we can all see it's bullshit. And this kind of impressively stupid attitude is really nothing new when it comes to Hasan. Just look at how he reacted to people criticizing his purchase of the Porsche Taycan he bought a couple years back.
There's literally no car that you could have bought that is more ethical. It's electric, manufactured by well-paid workers in Germany. That stuff doesn't matter. That it's not about ethics. There is no purchase ethics in this conversation. That's why people will literally take this to its like maximum degree and be like, are you going to be okay if Hasan buys a private jet? Are you going to be okay if Hasan makes as much money as Jeff Bezos? Like, I can't make as much money as Jeff Bezos. I don't want to make as much money as Jeff Bezos. And it's literally impossible for me to make as much money as Jeff Bezos without fucking exploiting people. That's the whole point. Motherfuckers on Twitter saying you should stop claiming you're part of the working class. That's one. People say things like, I can't believe he's like lying to people that I'm, funding the vanguard, the revolutionary vanguard.
How do you think you made all this money, Hasan? Do you honestly think it wasn't from exploiting people? Bro, you took contracts from one of the most notoriously scummy companies on the planet. One that is famous for exploiting its workers. How about all those people's videos you just watch all day, every day without giving any sort of insightful commentary? Especially when you just walk away and go to the bathroom for extended periods of time with the content playing. Do you think you weren't exploiting people for profit when you did that? Newsflash, buddy, your bank account is built off of exploitation. There is no two ways of looking at it. You are exactly what you preach against all the time. All right, guys, I said my bit. I hope you guys liked the video, and if you did, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, YouTube thinks you're gonna like this video right here.